walk with me. And as we wander down the crowded street, even if we're shuffling our feet, you make me never want to miss a beat. We're meant to be. And if you lie with me under the sycamore tree, whether we're high or low, there's nowhere else I wanna go. Hold my hand, fall in love with footprints in the sand, and kiss each other while we watch the band. And everyone who knows us understands we're meant to be. And if you lie with me under the sycamore tree, whether we're high or low, there's nowhere else I wanna go. So walk with me as we wander down the crowded street. Even if we're shuffling our feet, you make me never wanna miss a beat, never miss a beat. And if you lie with me under the sycamore tree, whether we're high or low, there's nowhere else I wanna go. And if you lie with me under the sycamore tree, whether we're high or low, there's nowhere else I wanna go. So walk with me, walk with me.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City of Cedar Falls Committee of the Whole meeting. Madam Clerk, I'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Schultz. Latta.
Here.
Nagel.
Here.
Hawbaker.
Here.
Fairbanks.
Here.
Chrisman.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Councilmember Schultz absent, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That moves us to item number 1, downtown parking report. For that, Supervisor Marcy Breibach. Thank you, Marcy.
Good evening, everybody. So we are here to give an update on the downtown parking. You should each have this in front of you as well, just to make it a little easier. All right, so what we're going to cover tonight will be the downtown parking pamphlet. downtown parking occupancy data, the parking permits, and then immobilization and impoundment.
And if I can jump in, Marcy, quick, just for new council members. So last year, after we had the study done and looked at the parking and realized at the time we felt the data showed we didn't need to move ahead with any big changes, but we wanted to keep recording, measuring data. So now we have staff every quarter just bringing in an update. So this is really just a general update and seeing where things are at and continuing to improve on things. So, all right, sorry. Thank you, Marcy.
Yep. All right, so the first page, what you see now is the outside. We created what we're hoping to pass out to public will be a new trifold pamphlet. It has some new photos of some interesting things going on downtown, gives you instructions on what you do if you get a ticket, if you need a parking permit. There's some QR codes on there that'll take you to the city's parking pages and also the Notify Me list. So that would be on the outside of the pamphlet. And then on the inside of the pamphlet would be an updated version of the downtown parking map, a little bit more simplified, showing the colors of the timed parking with the legend there at the bottom. And then on the side there, it just gives some examples of what the 2-hour, what the posted timed parking signs would look like. And then gives some little highlights of where they can find free parking and where the bus shelters are. And again, the QR code that takes you to the parking page if they have additional questions. So this page has the updated downtown parking occupancy data, and this actually reflects now a full year from December 2024 through December 2025. And it's divided up into those non-core and core zones, and it also reflects if there were any, events happening. So as you can see on one of them, we had UNI Homecoming Week. It also reflects the weather, things like that. To note, these November and December parking counts, however, do not include the new parking spaces created in the 2nd Street West lot. Just because those obviously aren't finalized yet, so. And then this page, the map that you see there gives that reflection of that final December count, of what the overall occupancy is there. And you can see, according to the metrics that were given to us by the parking consultant, we're still, the majority is less than 60% occupied, and just that Main Street area falls into that 80 to 90% on the average. All right, so parking permits. Those increased from $35 per month to $50 per month starting January 2026 per council's December 15th approval. And they're proposed to increase from $50 per month to $70 per month starting January 2027 pending future council approval. The average number of parking permits, I don't know if you want me to read through those or if you just want to look over them, but this is the average number of parking permits per month, and that's just reflected from October 2020 when those parking permits were initially put in place up to October 2025. So you can see what the average is in each of the 5 downtown lots. And then below that is the number of parking spaces in each of those lots, noting that the current 2nd Street West lot is obviously been increased in size, so that's going to not be reflected here quite yet. So, but once the final construction of that is done, we'll adjust those numbers.
Have we ever had a time where we do get near those limits for the 20%?
Occasionally, I'll have to do a manual approval if we're beyond that 20% that we sell for the lot.
But typically, are we under the 20%? Have we had issues with capacity?
Yeah. So parking citations. The fines have increased from $10 to $25 in January 2026 per council's December 15th approval, with exception of handicap citations remaining at $200 as those are regulated by the state. And then on top of that $25 would be a $5 late fee. Again, that is per Iowa code you can add the $5 late fee if they have not paid within 30 days from the date of the citation. And the last time that fines were increased was in 2019, where it increased from $5 to the $10, plus a $5 late fee if not paid in those 30 days. So it's been a few years since we've increased the cost of citations. We are requesting a motion from council on the following. For staff to implement a forgiveness program that would allow an annual one-time per license plate courtesy void to be applied to a parking citation if issued for overtime violations only. No warning citations would be given for outside stall lines, 15-minute parking spaces, yellow curbs, no parking locations, calendar parking, facing traffic, etc. Those would still remain the $25 citation fee. And we're just proposing to try this for a year and then review the impact to determine if that's something that we continue. And I think the mayor had more to add to that.
And this is something I've been talking with staff on. We were looking at, especially as we've increased the ticket price, maybe this year, looking at, do we do maybe just a one-time courtesy ticket? One, as the cost is going up, just to help accommodate for that and give people some transition time. But then also, we'll get out-of-towners who travel to the area and maybe don't know the rules. They have that one time they go over it, and the business will feel their customer got a bad experience because they didn't know the rules. And there's obviously a piece to that of it means less citations, but we were looking at trialing that for this year, just especially as we're increasing the rates, giving us that chance to show the customer service aspect of what we're doing. So talking with Attorney Rogers, there's no actual policy change we have to make. This is just how we do the enforcement. So just wanted to more so get feedback from everybody, if everybody would be comfortable trialing that this year, if you have any concerns with it, any thoughts?
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Marcia, do you have any sense of how many of our parking citations are, for lack of a better word, repeat offenders?
We do have, numbers, average numbers of, well, I couldn't tell you repeat offenders, but say we were to issue parking citation or warnings just for the exceeding time. If we base that on what happened for 2025, I believe there was around 1,700 would be around that one-time courtesy warnings.
Yeah, it was about 1,700 unique license plates that had a ticket in the year.
Okay.
That would have received their first one-time courtesy.
Sure.
For the
I think
year.
we had about 9,600 or so total citations, but that's not just overages on time. That's every
was for
type of
everything.
citation. And
Thanks.
Yep.
otherwise, any thoughts, concerns, or anything? Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about what that would look like when you got that on your car? How would you know?
Yeah, and I don't think we probably have it in the slides, but we worked up just a draft of it'd be a little sticker on the actual envelope that says this one's on us. That way, when somebody comes up and sees the ticket, they can automatically see oh, this one's a courtesy notice. So we just have a little sticker that says this one's on us. Future fines or future citations will result in a fine. It does have a little QR code with a link to the parking information, so if they don't know the rules, they can just look it up quickly and see the zones.
Do you want to see what we've been?
Yeah, do you have it quick if you just want to hold it up?
Cute.
This would go over the address part of the citation envelope so that they wouldn't be able to mail a payment. And obviously then the parking attendants would also circle the word warning, and on the ticket it shows that it's a $0 fee. But then this would be another clue to them that they've gotten a courtesy.
Does it meet your design standards?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
I actually got a little worried. I'm like, I know Hannah's got high standards. But any other thoughts, questions from council? And again, we're still reviewing this, so we'll kind of look at it internally. We haven't officially put it in place yet, but I just wanted to get it in front of everyone to make sure no one was surprised by it. Okay. Thank you, Marcy.
Yeah. All right. On to immobilization and impoundment. So immobilization criteria, if the registered owner of a vehicle or vehicles, so say you own multiple vehicles, owes $60 or more in past due fines per council's 12/15/25 approval, they would become boot eligible. And the boot fee is an additional $50 on top of whatever amount they have past due. or excuse me, whatever amount is due for citations. And we're requesting input from council on the following. This was something that was mentioned in some past meetings to give as an option, because currently we do not have a tiered program. Each time you get booted, it's a $50 fee. So considering a tiered program for repeat offenders would be the first time, you know, and this is just numbers, this isn't anything set in stone by any means. So first time, same $50, second time, $75, and then so forth, moving up. The pros of that would be it may deter some repeat offenders. The cons of the tiered booting process is that it does require some complex searching and tracking of systems by the admin staff to find any previous booting of vehicles or registered owners. Because as you know, we don't get one plate and it stays with us as long as it used to. Plates change a lot more often, so you have to go in the system. It's a little bit more tedious to try to figure out if they've been booted on a different plate before. So, and the other question would be, is there a reset to this, or does the tier continue if and when new license plates are issued? So say they have one license plate and now it's, you know, they no longer have that plate or no longer have that car, but they were booted on that one. Does that then follow them to the next plate?
And then one other point in the conversation we had is the $60 was essentially, if you're just using the normal tickets, so it's, if you have two tickets and they both become overdue, you've got 25 and 25 and then plus 5 each, so you get to that 60. So your third ticket you would get booted, or if you have two tickets overdue and get a third. If you have, it's different if you have the handicap tickets, that's $200, and as soon as that becomes overdue, you're boot eligible. So to a question around, okay, is the third ticket, should we push that to like the fifth ticket? Is the third too strong of enforcement? Do we think, because it seems like if people get to the third, they're probably going to get to the fifth.
Mr. Mayor,
Well, and
you're
then,
giving them a warning on top of it.
Yes.
Going to a fifth is ridiculous, my opinion.
I agree. I find it disrespectful to everybody else who's following the law.
well, now remember, depends on what you decide with the warnings. If the warnings are only on exceeding time only, now they may receive tickets for parking in a no parking zone or a no curb area. So they're going to get, they may not, if that's the way you guys go, may not get a courtesy warning on that. So,
Sure, small subset, good point.
yeah.
But also no strong need to have to change it. It was just point of conversation if anyone felt strongly that that was too enforcement or too heavy on enforcement, if not, but
Mr. Mayor,
yeah.
my question is, when I look at the pros and the cons that are listed, like, in the end, is it worth it? Like, are we spending so much time that it's, I trust-
wish I could say there's one system we could go to and it just magically
Yeah.
pops that up, but it's multiple systems with the way, because we have to check our parking system, our finance system, and other systems as well. And then sometimes you have to cross-check, you know, is this registered owner the same as that registered owner? So it does take some time,
like,
the admin staff.
like a guesstimate of how much time,
On
possibly.
an average, a straightforward, the parking attendant calls in to try to boot a vehicle because they always have to call in and confirm that there hasn't been a recent payment made that's not showing up on their handheld or something. On average, 5 to 10 minutes on a straightforward one.
On a straightforward one, but then this tier one,
That could,
so they're standing there trying to boot it, and then they're waiting for all the data?
yep, they're waiting for admin to call them back and say, yes, they're boot eligible. They've checked, they've gone through the whole checklist to make sure that they've not made any payments to us or to our parking vendor, and just making sure it meets all the criteria.
Yeah, I mean, that's my concern, is it worth it?
Because our goal is not to boot anybody that has not met the boot.
Yeah.
To make that clear. We're not out there to boot people.
No, but on the flip side of it, I mean, there are, you know, it goes both ways. Like, you know, we're all trying to maybe park our car, so I don't think anybody's trying to,
Well, and to be fair, it's stated on not only every citation, back and envelope, so, I mean,
it's not a surprise,
right,
even if people say it's.
it might not be a shock.
So I'd say unless someone feels strongly that we should change anything, so we can leave it as is. But
I have two questions. One, how many cars were booted like last year?
Ooh, that's a good question. I did not look that number up, but I could get that
Ballpark,
for you
or-
and find, I wouldn't even want to
okay.
ballpark it for you, but I could get that for you and get back to you.
Okay. And then two is, would there be any, and this is just more of general for conversation, is there any value in, you know, passing on the tiered system and just increasing the general boot fee to try to get rid of some of the complexity?
That would be completely up to you guys.
Way to put the policy question on us.
Right, yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I would agree with that. You know, builders don't get that much leverage on,
Closer to the mic.
what's that? Oh. I would agree, that's just too many tiers to deal with. You know, maybe if you had 2 or 3 maybe, but it really doesn't seem to be. 5 is certainly very lenient. And I don't think the fees are out of line, so.
And like to Mayor's point, previously it was, you had 2 tickets that were at $10, and then once they reached 15, if you had 2 of them at 15, you were at $30. And then if those were past due, you became boot eligible. So we would still be following that 2, and in some cases, they're going to receive a warning also. So that would stick with kind of the same process that we're doing currently, except adding that warning citation in for the exceeding time if you choose to do that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again because I think it's important. I'm okay with whatever this body decides. I just, in the end, I think the most important thing is that we stick with it. Because it's just like raising your kids. As soon as you give them a wiggle worm or wiggle room, then, you know, what's the point of having rules?
Yep. Well, if everyone's okay with it, I'd say we can, I don't think there's a rush to do it, so I'd say maybe just at the next quarterly update, we can bring some of that information about the number of bootings and
Yep.
those things and see if it makes sense to look at a different fee then, but it doesn't seem there's a huge rush to need to address this otherwise. Okay.
I think that's everything I had, so.
Otherwise, I think the last slide is just questions. Any questions, thoughts overall on the parking situation and the abundance of parking we have?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
The community center public library lot on the map is listed as a 24-hour lot. But I think, I have a picture of it, but it's an older picture. There's a sign that says that it is library and community center patron parking only. So I just wonder if that's causing any confusion. I mean, I've seen people parking there when the library and the community center are certainly not open. So I'm sure some people understand that, but maybe if we could just get some clarity and make sure we have the appropriate signage there, that might be helpful.
I will say I've never received a call questioning it, but we can definitely look at it and see where the placement is and see if there's more appropriate signage or if it's appropriate and leave it as is.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, going back earlier in the presentation, are we looking for a motion from council on a one-time?
For the one time, no, because at this point, we don't have to actually do anything by policy. I think
Just
if
read the
everyone's
slides.
comfortable with it, again, we haven't finalized the plans yet, but we'll probably plan to look at moving ahead with that, unless you hear any concerns otherwise from council. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you.
All right, that moves us to item number 2, pre-approved housing plans. That we've got planner JD. Thank you, JD. And quick background on this. If you remember, this was a discussion at not the goal setting we just did, the goal setting before that for this current fiscal year, to look at the potential of pre-approved home designs that would essentially be if somebody wanted to build something and just use kind of an off-the-shelf model that's already approved by our plan and zoning, meets building requirements. So staff just put together some information about what other places have done to give us a feel for it so we can talk through it. So.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. Thank you for this opportunity to present this project. This is for a pre-approved housing plan project. So I just run the basics of what this program is, and then we'll dive into a couple of research that I've done with what other communities are doing and what would be our proposal to move forward. So just what is pre-approved housing plan? It's basically a library of housing plan that are pre-reviewed or that are reviewed and approved by the city. Housing plan does mean it would include architecture design as well as construction-ready documents. So it's basically construction-ready, set to be used or available to be used for building houses. At the time of review, we'll make sure that it it complies with all city code. And again, it's just an additional toolkit that is available to people to design or to have a house that would fit the character of neighborhood. Other terms that you may have heard are pre-reviewed, pre-approved, permit-ready, or plan catalog, etc. So those are just some other words. I do want to say one more thing, that this program is gaining a lot of national traction. It is getting more popular across the nation. And also the National Association of Home Builders is highlighting this program that is as a tool that could be used for increasing the efficiency and the speed of housing approval process. So how did we get here? So I know Mayor did highlight a brief intro to this, how are we here? But I believe a couple of years ago we had this program discussed, and at the time we pushed it to a later date discussion. So after the zoning codes were updated in downtown area, this is where this comes in. There are several points that I'd like to highlight. One of them was we have a limited understanding of diverse housing type that is suited for neighborhoods. We do have zoning tools that are available that is more flexible to allow different housing types, but the progress on those development is slow. We've seen NIMBYism also has hindered optimal site development, and we have seen that planned residential districts like RP and MU have guidelines and process, but we have also heard complaints from developer that it takes a longer time to review. And we have also seen that City of Cedar Falls comprehensive plan and affordable housing study that was done indicates that there is a need for more diverse housing types and to meet the housing needs that we have today. Which is why we are here to discuss this program. And one important piece I forgot to mention was this program would help streamline development process and encourage infill. I think that's important to note. So just running through some benefits of this pre-approved housing plan program. It does provide benefits to the community as well as builders, homeowners, by increasing the supply of housing. That is one of the biggest thing. At the same time, increasing housing, but without compromising the character of neighborhood. I think that would be beneficial to community, avoiding NIMBYism, and that this program would offer sustainable growth by using existing infrastructure that we already have in place. And for builders and homeowner, it helps with faster permitting, predictable timeline for development. It does eliminate design costs, like people spending money to design the layout of the houses or construction drawings. Now that might be available with this program, so that soft cost is avoided. You may hear me use the word soft cost, which is the design cost in future slides. And also, it would promote small builders or first-time developers to encourage with different projects. Besides that, this program would also be beneficial for affordability and cost savings. As I said, it would shorten the approval time, lowering total development costs for both the homeowners and developers. It would, again, reduce the soft cost, which is the design cost that is passed on to the end users. And more importantly, people will be able to take advantage of a housing that they feel is needed and what they can manage versus what could be built. So just to run a glimpse about what this program may look. So here is an image or a good illustration that I picked up from South Bend, Indiana's pre-approved housing plan catalog. As you may see, this photo depicts a variety of housing types. This includes single family, a duplex, a carriage house or an ADU, a cottage or a tiny home, a fourplex design, a sixplex design, all of which you may see that it fits in well if compared next to next, you won't recognize which is what. I think this is the goal of this program, is to make sure that we have something that fits in the character of the neighborhood where they are building, and also shows how a variety of housing type can fit well when placed next to each other. One second. Yep. So now working through the process of how this program would work is city would approve housing type and floor plans, building designs, all pre-approved, ready for construction, which will be all available on city's webpage for one to choose. One can just choose a house type, floor plan, building design, and can submit a site plan for review. And once we get that review, site plan is reviewed, the permit is issued, and then the construction begins. So it's simpler, it's most, I would say more fast track or streamlined approach to housing development that we can have if this program is in place. Here are the examples that I was mentioning earlier. As I said, this program is gaining national traction. A lot of cities, not just this that are listed here, but there are many cities that are working on this program or have already in place program. So I would like to highlight, I've highlighted a couple of base points about what these cities are that has an active program with inclusion of their population size and when the program began, and whether that is area specific or citywide. Based on my research, the common denominator to start working on this program was a housing study that was done nationwide that showed that there is a growing disparity between available large single-family homes and evolving preference for smaller household within walkable neighborhood. And then the study aimed at a need for diverse housing type that would address the evolving housing needs across the nation. So basically, this program would promote infill development, increases home building capacity, and address housing needs as they are evolving. Again, to reiterate, City of Cedar Falls Comprehensive Plan and Affordable Housing Study also indicates that there is a need for more diverse housing types. Each city here, regardless of population size, provides benefits to home buyers and provides various affordable housing options to meet the evolving needs without compromising design or aesthetics of a neighborhood. A couple of cities in here have also undergone a study first to identify where in the city this program would work more beneficial, or what housing type would be more appropriate to have more benefits to the city, like revenue modeling and stuff. So a couple of cities have undergone through that process as well. I'll be sharing more examples of these cities that I referenced in my future slides. Here is one of them. This is for city of Guthrie, Oklahoma. This city launched this program called Big Initiative that was to address infill development and accelerate home building process. This city offers 4 different types of housing types with different sizes and layouts. And they also allows minor customization of floor plans and building design. Again, this program was created to boost infill, incentivize small developers, and provide diverse and affordable options to meet the evolving needs for the city. And this catalog also accounts for building tiny homes on a 25-foot lot, which I'll be sharing in my later slides. Here is another city, Kalamazoo, Michigan. This city conducted a revenue modeling to identify which model of housing type would benefit where in the city before they started this program. And this program was created to streamline infill housing, revitalize vacant lots, improve neighborhood appearance, and to make easier for developers to build diverse housing type quickly and affordably. More importantly, this program addresses a shortage of housing without compromising its design or identity. In my conversation with them, they did say that partnering with developers, land banks, nonprofit, or using TIF programs can really help bring the cost down. And on an average, they said the saving by a homeowner is about $7,000 to $10,000. That's like a design cost itself. This is another city, South Bend, Indiana. Again, they started the research on this by doing a revenue modeling to identify where in the city this program would benefit. And then they came up with the idea to have, and so the city currently offers 6 to 10 different housing plans designed that are unique in layout, each with different floor plan option, design options, each from a small middle scale housing to 4-plexes, 6-plexes. They do allow minor variations in their floor plan and design. In my conversation with them, they did indicate there were no pushbacks from anyone because this program was available as an additional tool, despite what we have people doing designs or home building. In my conversation with them, they also added saying in last 3 years of this program, they have approved 232 units from this program itself. And city is continuously investing into this program to provide a more broader catalog. So they started with 6 to 10, but I think they are currently working on 4 to 6 more design options or different housing type options. Again, they had the same number about saving cost up to $10,000. That again is a cost that is saved for a homeowner. And now I want to highlight some example and references. So this would include practical examples of what houses could be built. So here is an example that shows a 6-plex. The left photo is a 6-plex in Iowa City. The north right image is a 4-plex townhome in North Carolina, and an example of a cottage home or tiny home that could also be served as an ADU. So here are just some practical examples that people are already building this out into the community. With this next image is about a 4-plex unit. This image is from a catalog of City of Kalamazoo, Michigan, pre-approved housing plan catalog. This illustration basically indicates that it's a design of a 4-plex that is on a 40 feet wide 4-plex that could be constructed on a typical lot. I know typical lot in Cedar Falls is 66 feet, at least in the core area. So this would fit right in there, especially in the downtown and the College Hill areas. Which also at the bottom 3 images shows different design variation that could occur with this floor plan too. So just a glimpse of what this program could be. Here is an example of a duplex. This example is from City of Guthrie, Oklahoma. This is a duplex design. Again, that would fit, as it's indicated, it's 40 feet wide. Again, can be fitted on any standard lot in the city, especially in College Hill and the downtown characteristic area. Here are another sets of duplex design that we see. These are some of the practical executed designs. There are all three photos are duplex designs. 2 of them are in Cedar Falls, which is the top, the left and the right are in Cedar Falls, and the middle one is in Iowa City. So just different variations, but you could see all of them fit and looks unique in the same neighborhood if they were next to each other. Here is another example of a carriage home or an above garage ADU. I know we have been talking a lot about ADU, so this could be a possible design. This is an image that I pulled from South Bend, Indiana. This was to boost infill, and then the idea behind this is it could be used as an ADU, could be used as a tiny home concept too, or it could be used as many other purposes, like multifunctional design, I would say. Here is an image from City of Bryan, Texas, that talks about how it could be, how this cottage unit would fit on a small or an infill lot. I think this lot is 50 feet wide by 35. I know we have many lots in city, like 66 by 66, so this could be a perfect opportunity to have a small cottage or a tiny home. As you can see, the illustration would match probably everywhere, and also it could be used as an ADU. So this concept is basically showing you can mix and match, and the design would fit in well anywhere. Here's a narrow single family. This is the example I was talking about. This is from City of Guthrie. This is in their catalog. This house would fit on a 25-foot lot, so it's like a tiny home idea of narrow single family home, which would fit perfect. So yes, after all the examples, as you saw, there are various ways to design or present this to people. We would propose the following: like, we would want to develop a library of diverse housing type to address the evolving needs. If the program goes forward, we would like to have it applicable in certain areas, including downtown district, College Hill, and planned residential zones, including MU and RP. I believe that the current requirements in MU and RP lack some guidance, and also increases time for developers to go through multiple review. So this could be a good plug-in and play operation. They can choose designs that are available at city's webpage and then design subdivisions accordingly and just get on with construction. So, and then the piece would be to public outreach to spread this education and awareness. We would also work on developing a partnership with like stakeholder meetings and stuff like that to promote this program, and also take feedbacks from them, and then launch this program. I'm on my last slide. I'm just here to answer any questions anyone may have, and also this meeting, we are wanting you guys to discuss this and seeking consensus to move forward with this project in FY27. So thank you.
Thank you, JD. And with that, should open it up to discussion, conversation, thoughts?
Mr. Mayor?
Yep, go ahead.
I have several questions, but having studied this, and as I told Stephanie, I said you bought yourself some fine approval by noticing NAHB, which is just close to my heart. But a couple of questions that I had were especially about NIMBY, okay? And a lot of the plans that I saw don't have garages. How does that work into the equation? Parking, how does that work into the equation? And how would this eliminate NIMBY would be my first question. And how many, when I think about these cities, what was the reasons that they decided to do this? Was it because they had an abundance of lots or houses that needed to be torn down and redone? I don't know that we have that abundance in Cedar Falls, especially in the areas we're talking about. They kind of come and go in single units.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll wait. Do you have any other questions?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, I'll just respond to a couple of those questions. So, from my research, I think these were, most of the cities started this program, again, as part of the national trend that was showing a large disparity between a large single-family home and what people are needing today in the market. Like, they are wanting smaller homes in walkable neighborhoods. So it was like, how can we achieve those? And this was a metrics to achieve that. The cities that I referenced also had some infill questions. So they had couple of cities had a lot of vacant lots. Some of them had like aging households, housing stock in their cities. So they were trying to see how best they could retrofit those areas with, a new design that also fits well within the character of the neighborhood. So I think that was the goal for major of the cities. And more importantly, it was to boost how can we streamline house building process. In other words, like, why do we need to take more time or more review time or more approval time when we already can review this in the first place and then move smoothly? And also there was questions about affordability. So like, if we can absorb soft design costs as a city, then that would save the end user the money. So I think those were common denominators, I would say, from my research and reference to all the cities. And about the parking and the garages, I think some of the cities were trying to incentivize this in areas that had like alleys, for example. So they would be able to get the garage off the alley or have it behind, and or have it tuck behind the house. So the principal or the primary facade that you see when you're walking by is the house, and that it's tucked back, like we have many areas in town. And then some also offered like a incremental approach to design. So like, for example, let's say I am a person that doesn't have a car or maybe only have one car. I can work with driveway for 5 years, and when I have money, I can build a garage in the back, for example. So a lot of cities also took that incremental approach that way to save the first initial cost, to having a home of its own. So, yeah.
I would imagine that with the amount of regulations and easements and especially on older lots that you would have a lot of modification to the plans. From a cost affordability standpoint, looking at what it would cost if you took a single-family house, that you took a house and you tore it down, and you probably would have, in our area, you're probably lucky to find something that's 150, 160,000, and by the time you put one of those houses on, you're pushing about 5 or 550 to do a project. And my question is there really an appetite to do that? And in our area, I do see great benefit in some of the multifamily units that you're proposing, and some of the builders that I've talked to and developers have indicated that would be something that would work because they would be more of a rental situation and they could build and hold them and sell. And if they condoed them, they would be able to sell off pieces and stuff like that. I'm just looking for some more clarifications. This is a big step. And just wondering several things about, if we design the plans, who rests with the liability for those plans? Is that going to be the city, the architect? And then also you've got a builder that's obligated to build them according to the plans. And I just would be concerned if you had a structural defect in a plan, that they'd say, well, we followed that. But it's just a liability issue. And then do we have a plan review process now other than just what we do at the building department?
Yeah, we do get permits for all the houses and review that, yes. And I think the plan review was targeted for like planned residential districts, like that goes through like planning and zoning and city council. So it was like the RP zones or MU zones. We can make this tool as a flexible tool for those areas to be able to use this. So, yeah. To your question, yes, great questions. I don't think I'll be able to answer the cost factor, but I know that in my conversation with one of the city, they did say partnering with banks or lending institution can certainly help us get an estimate on what it looks like. But also, and regarding the liability aspect, I think it's like anyone building houses now, we would make sure that those houses or the plans that we get are stamped or is prepared by a licensed person, and making sure that they are executing the same thing as we approved. I think it would be the same like that. So
no, I think it's an okay concept. I don't have any issues personally with it.
Sure.
I just want it to work. And I know that in our business, having been in the business for a long time, I think I remember back maybe 10 or 15 years ago when I actually used a plan out of a plan book. All the customers that they want to build their dream home really are looking to do that and not take something stock out of a plan book. It's been a long time since we've done that. But
Sure.
Well, if I can jump
ahead.
in on that, are you saying in a lot of the other communities is the focus really affordability and kind of trying to drive some of those more affordable options versus, because I think you're right, if somebody really can afford it, they're probably going to want to go with that custom-built home. But are you seeing, is the focus on affordability in some of those options?
I would say I think it's in mixed approach. So it not only the affordable is not the prime focus, but it was more about we need variety of housing types to bridge the gap between what people wants versus what we have available or what people wants to build. That was the big issue. And then the second thing is our existing infrastructure. We already some of the areas that we have is we have aging household areas or stock. So how can we make those lots more use a better way to take advantage of those? Like in those cases, we won't have to add like a street, for example, or extend utilities. They are all available to serve. So how best we can take advantage of existing areas of town and see how best we can without compromising the design. Because I know like the neighbors are like, yeah, we don't want that, or so in this case it's all controlled and it flies through quickly. So
Thanks, Shadi. Sure. Open up the other.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Can you go back to the slide that talks about where these plans would be used?
sure. This one.
So I think that would mean that like where my house is, 12th and College, would not fall into this?
I don't know the map top of my head, but if it's not in this area, then
Yeah,
maybe
because
not.
I think it's an R2 zone.
Okay.
And so my request would be to expand where the program is available because, for example, within 3 blocks of my house, there are 3 open lots. So I think those could be good places. And additionally, there have been 3 houses torn down and 3 houses built that don't match the character of the neighborhood.
Okay.
So I think, and that's all within the last 2 years. So, I think this is a really good program. I do think that people will take advantage of it. I understand the concern about parking, but I also think that we have to move on from that in some capacity. That we keep our eye on that, and we try to be aware of that, and make conscious decisions about how that works. But also, for example, my house has a garage, but we don't park in it. We have people who live across the street. That's a rental. They have a garage. They park in their driveway and they park in the street. I think so. It's kind of like you might put the garage and then the person doesn't use it. And so if we're, factoring in that cost and then it doesn't get used, or if it ends up being a rental with a lot of people in it, and I think we try to do a good job of being over all of that and aware of that. And, because they're infill lots, I don't think it should see a significant impact on the parking. Unless we find an area that maybe has 5 or 6 open lots all next to each other and we're going to build, 5 or 6 houses or whatever that looks like, then maybe that is something that we need to consider. What would that look like? And I also think it might be helpful to identify some of those empty lots. Obviously, most of them are owned by private citizens, but just to have a better understanding of where we're at with our empty lots at the moment. The other question I had was in terms of the ADUs, correct me if I'm wrong, I think in some of our code, it says that you can't build a garage that is taller than your house. So if you had a ranch style house, you probably wouldn't be able to build a garage with apartments over it. So maybe at some point that's something that we look at when we're exploring our code. If we're going to make a plan like this available, maybe we want that. We want to change that to allow for ADUs to be built over garages with ranch-style homes. Okay, I think that's all of my thoughts, but I'm really excited about this.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yeah, really quick, was there anything in there you were going to respond to?
Oh, thank you.
Just to check though, is that correct though? Because I think, Sam, like I have a ranch style house, I looked at that one time. So ADUs cannot be built if your primary dwelling is not multi-story. You'd be limited to the 1-story height on a garage.
My guess is, I don't know, I know we recently amended to follow through with the state code. I don't know the specifics of it, but I think there may be an allowance, but I cannot say for certain. So I need to check on it.
Thanks, Shidi. Yep, Counselor.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing out this is just really providing another tool.
Yes.
Everything else is still available. You can still build the way that we've always built. But it possibly can fast track and reduce costs for projects that may not get done otherwise. Now, to Hannah's point on the designation of the College Hill area as well as downtown, I'm guessing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that's just because we're revamping the zoning around the College Hill area. We already have done so downtown. And so when it comes to showing what plans are available, it's easier to write them to those areas as opposed to just R2 or something like that. But I would ask, I'm in favor of this, but I do think we do need to look at a bigger picture in the areas that it applies to, because I know that we know where the old parts of Cedar Falls are, kind of from First Street and edging up towards University and then bordered on the east and west. I think that's our infill area. So if we can provide the plans that would allow this program to exist there, then I think that would be most beneficial. So,
Sure.
But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. And if I could ask clarification, just because I know this is some people's concern, those 3 homes you mentioned that got rebuilt, nothing about this would prevent them from having built the home you don't like.
Right.
But it would have given them an option
Correct.
that they could have used.
Could have saved them some money.
Which sometimes is an incentive.
Which sometimes is an incentive. But I know that is a concern I've heard from a few people, but I think nothing about what we're proposing here, what staff is bringing forward, would limit anyone from having to use these. It's just an option that wouldn't be an obligation for somebody. It just gives them that pre-set design. Any other thoughts, questions?
Mr. Mayor, has there been, what's the interest, or have we weighed the interest of what developers think about this? Or, I mean, it seems like this is kind of a push. Is there a poll as well for the program?
So again, we will bring this program in full proposal mode. I think this was just to discuss with you guys today, to see whether we want to move forward with this program. I think once we start, as we said, to start developing those, I think we'll have more like our stakeholder meetings. We'll be open to doing those things. That way we can take inputs from them before we define the program and present to you guys.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I can say, being on the development committee, that a lot of the emphasis was on streamlining these steps, that these would leap over with the pre-design. I don't know what the appetite is for preset plans, but I do know that something that streamlines and fast tracks those initial approval steps and design steps, I think the group was very much in favor of. So,
Mr. Mayor, and when this was originally on the CIP, like 3 or 4 years ago, the Home Builders Association was in favor of it, but it wasn't in the budget at the time.
And I don't expect you to know this, but do you have a ballpark on how much, like, we think the process will cost, looking to go through that, maybe from what the other communities did?
Sure, I did ask that question
It
too.
costs to us, yeah, as a city.
But again, like the final numbers needs to be discussed. I don't know, but my conversation with a couple of communities I talked with, I think we're estimating about $170,000. That includes like a development construction package for housing types. But again, I don't want to say that number like as a concrete, because it may change. And I think a lot of communities were like trying to start with 4 and then they added 4 more, so the cost varied. So it depends on how much, or like how we develop this program to move forward. So thank you.
Thank you, JD.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Was talking about a plan company that I've worked with in the past called Design Basics. And a lot of these plans are very similar. And we purchased a product called Neighborhood in the Box. And the cost to do that was significantly less than what we're talking about. I think we spent like $3,000 for a whole neighborhood, and there's probably 50 or 60 different plans.
Okay.
So it matters how you do it, whether we
Sure.
do it with a plan company or whether we go out and hire an architect and start from scratch.
Sure.
So that is a concern. On the garage thing, doesn't the code call for every new house to have a garage attached?
I had that in my follow-up. I don't think, there's probably a number of parking spots required in the dwelling, but does it require, you just want to speak to that a little bit, the parking requirements? Because I think anything that would be built under this would still have to fit within our current parking regulations.
Yes, that is correct. So we have a parking requirement in our code, like a single family needs to have certain number of parking spaces. It doesn't tell us like whether they need to be in a garage or a driveway, but it needs to be there on the property. So it's not specific. That is why we see like different variations, like some of them have detached garage with a driveway, some has a single wide driveway leading to a single attached garage or detached garage, so.
That was something I did like about it, is kind of going back to that neighborhood behind College Square Mall.
Yeah.
How they were built with the option added on.
Yeah,
You could
no,
do it to make it more affordable.
I agree. I just don't know if our code allows
Allows
that.
for it, yeah.
I remember working with Habitat for Humanity, and that was a stumbling block for them because it was required that we have an attached garage. And that's actually how Habitat for Humanity came to start doing attached garages, was because of a Cedar Falls ordinance. But anyway, just a lot of things to flesh out, and I'm with Tom. I would like to hear from the people who actually do the work, that are actually the developers and builders. I looked at the process, and sometimes I think we get it backwards. We move so fast, so far ahead, that the people who have the knowledge about whether something's going to work or not are not involved. I would personally like to see that we talk to them before we push forward. Just that was the input that I got from a number of people.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
And Counselor? Any other thoughts? Members?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I'm just going to be a devil's advocate and say that's important. I agree. We should get their input. But also, we need to remember it's also the citizens and the people who live here or want to live here. Their input's important as well. And I'm just thinking like myself, I have no desire to ever build a house. But if I was going to build a house, this seems like the way I would go because, oh, you've done all the work. I pick what I want. Especially, I heard you say walkability. Like, why do people maybe want to do this? It's not, yes, affordability obviously is a big factor. But there are many of us who, you know, if you're going to live in town, they want the perks of living in town, which for me is, can I walk somewhere? Can I walk to the library? Can I walk to my kid's school? Things like that. And, you know, specifically maybe what I call the urban core, as those houses age and maybe they no longer are affordable to renovate, could there be a way that I or my family could live here? And I love all the options. For instance, you know, I love tiny homes. I actually dream of living in a tiny home. And the reason why is because I don't want to be married to maintaining a giant house. So I think there's a whole bunch of people like me who, yeah, in a perfect world, if I could afford like staff and stuff to take care of a big house, and maybe I'd do that. But in the reality is I want to live a life beyond my house. So yes, I agree. I want to know what developers think, but I also want to push back and say, I think there's a whole bunch of people who would appreciate this option as well.
Thanks, Counselor. Yep.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. JD, thanks for the presentation. I think it's important to remember, again, to Councilmember Hawbaker's point, this is a tool. It's an option. I do think points up here have been well taken that we should probably consider maybe some additional areas that we could expand this to, and I trust that staff's going to have those conversations. But I don't think this precludes anyone from building whatever home they may so choose. This just gives us, again, some perhaps pre-planned and streamlined options that may mitigate some of the costs. So I don't really see a downside to it, provided that we have those stakeholder conversations. And again, I think it's a great option. So appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Counselor. And if I can ask quick, if you could do a just quick hypothetical, and I don't know, this might be stuff that gets fleshed out in the process, but this kind of goes to Councilmember Fairbanks, your question about how does it prevent NIMBYism. Could you kind of just walk through the process of, let's say we have this in place, we've got these plans, somebody wants to build that home. Could you just kind of walk through the quick version of what that process would look like for someone looking to build one of these homes?
Sure. So I think different cities have tailored to however they see fit, but I think it was more like if you have the housing types available. So it's like buying a car, like, do you want this option, A, B, C? Then you have options for modification. You choose that, and then go to your cart, build it. That's all. So I think it's going to be, so we'll have plans that will be available on our webpage. So one can I have a 60 by whatever size lot. I think I can fit this fourplex on this, and I think I would like to have this design. So they just bring in that construction set to our permit department, and then we'll just say that this is a site plan that I would like to go with. They on their end, I think they'll have to prepare a site plan that shows the setbacks making sure that it's meeting the zoning code, and we would only design those places where they are able to utilize those. So we will have to work with a consultant to do that. But they have to submit a site plan that is reviewed, and they can start construction the very next day. So.
Okay.
Or once the permit is approved. So, yeah.
You're committing that will be the very next day.
Well,
Always.
no, but we always try. So,
Yeah. So, all right, thank you, JD.
thank you.
Any other thoughts, conversation from council? Otherwise, are we looking for a motion at this point, or just
Just a consent.
consensus?
We're
to
looking
keep
for
moving
direction from
forward?
the council if you'd like us to propose this in the fiscal '27 budget.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yes.
And since we'll do a motion on it then, so just look for a motion to approve this. Well, someone's gonna have to make the motion. I can't.
So move to include this moving forward into the fiscal year 2027.
Second.
All right, open for discussion. Since we're doing the motion, we'll open up the public comment quick, if anyone from the public would like to speak tonight. So, seeing none, then we'll bring it back. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, JD. All right, that moves us to overview of the College Hill zoning review and adoption process. Thank you, Karen. And getting quick background on this, we're not actually getting a presentation about the whole thing at this point. It's just we wanted to make sure we kind of gave, especially because most of us, were you even here for the college or the downtown part?
Yeah, I was.
But most of us weren't here for the downtown part to just know the process and everything that goes into it as we start going down that. So take it away, Karen.
Okay. I'm pleased to be here to give this update. I know some people have been really waiting for this, the next step in this process. Back in March of 2025, you remember that Leslie Oberholzer came here and presented her directions report and you all confirmed that that's the direction you wanted to go forward with, to develop new zoning districts for College Hill, to replace the College Hill overlay district with clear and objective standards, so everybody doesn't have to go, every garage, every addition doesn't have to go through the process. We can just have clear and objective standards using tables and illustrations for ease of use of the code, establish allowed building types so it's more clear what we're allowing in College Hill. And again, parking is always a question, right? And how do we adjust those parking requirements? It was in the vision plan. Highlighted this is really the key to getting redevelopment in College Hill, and especially those dense areas near you and I, that we have to kind of be creative about our parking requirements and propose some new methods to address parking as needed. So that's included, and then the council gave direction to focus on the character areas 1, 2, and 3 from the vision plan, and some of the surrounding neighborhoods that are highlighted here around that core area to include with these zoning updates. So right on to the process. We've been working diligently with Ms. Overholzer and Codometrics to, she's been drafting code language, and staff has been internally reviewing that. And so we're ready to roll this out as a public review draft at the Planning and Zoning Commission next week, January 28th. This will just be an initial draft. And then that presentation will have an open house after the presentation next week at the Planning and Zoning Commission, where people will have a bunch of boards set out here in the foyer so people can linger and ask questions, look a little more carefully. And then we'll post that draft code on the city's on the project webpage so that people can really dig into it. Those that are builders or developers can dig into it in more detail. And then we'll have also meetings with the stakeholders a couple weeks later, the same stakeholders we met with originally, which were developers, architects, the College Hill Partnership, landlords, officials from UNI, and of course the residents in the neighborhood. So we'll have some opportunities for a little more question and answer from those stakeholder groups on February 12th. And then we'll, of course, offer additional stakeholder meetings. If people can't meet those dates or can't come, we're always going to be available for, a quick Zoom meeting or something like that with people that want to talk with Leslie about specific questions that they have. So we're going to then collect comments and suggestions for changes. That initial review draft will be out there for about a month. And then after that, based on comments and questions that we have, and of course we'll realize, oh, we didn't get that quite right, so we'll adjust a few things in the draft code, and Leslie will prepare a public hearing draft then in March, and then we'll go forward to the formal public hearing process through the Planning and Zoning Commission. We'll introduce the item and have public hearings at the Planning and Zoning Commission. And at that point, it's really up to the commission and to the council how long that formal review lasts, and if there's questions, of course there may be additional public hearings, but if through the typical process we'd anticipate April and May for the public hearings at Planning and Zoning Commission, and then council review. We come to council maybe in June, likely, and give a presentation then of the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommended draft, what's come out of the Planning and Zoning Commission then, because there might be some changes that happened at that public review process at the Planning and Zoning Commission. So that presentation will be done at a committee whole meeting for the council, and then the formal public hearings will start after that. And hopefully then we'll have a new code in place by the end of the summer, is the plan. This was just something I wanted to highlight because this is something we used with the downtown code, and I think it was pretty well received because it is a big piece of zoning code. It's a very technical document, and people have suggestions and comments, and they also have requested specific changes. So we want to make sure that we document what we have. Anybody that's requesting a change, we document it in a decision, what we're calling a decision matrix, meaning that if somebody proposes something, we want them to know that they've been heard and that their suggestion is being considered. So we'll put it in this matrix. The code consultant may have some explanatory notes and comments for the Planning and Zoning Commission to consider. For example, if this is at the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then give a recommendation potentially. Maybe it's, hey, this is a great idea, we'll make this change, we're recommending this change in the code, and then the P&Z will have a discussion and decide. And they'll say, yep, we want this change in the code, and this is what we're deciding. So that way, even if the commission is not agreeing with whoever's making the request for the change, at least it's noted that they've considered it. And the same thing would then happen at council as well, if there's things that come up at council so that you all want to consider a change. So it's a deliberative process, and people will feel like they've been heard. So just want to highlight that again. I think that went fairly well with the downtown code. So that's it in a nutshell. Just a brief overview of the process coming up. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Open to council. Thoughts, questions?
Looking forward to it.
Awkward silence?
Yeah.
Not awkward, but okay.
All right.
I do have one question,
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor. Is this pretty much the same thing as downtown? Is that the goal? that's where this is coming from.
So it's being tailored to what was in the vision plan for College Hill, so it will be somewhat different. There's different characteristics in College Hill, so it is being tailored to College Hill and some of the, from that directions report. Codometrics is a different firm that writes slightly different codes, but it will be quite similar. And I think the goal at the end of the project is then she has been taking and looking at our existing code and the existing downtown code and trying to mesh so that it's similar, because we don't want to have in the end a patchwork of one code here and one code here. So I think the goal, even after the College Hill plan or code is adopted, if there's some tweaks to the downtown code, we think this code gets it better, and we can make some improvements to the downtown code. We'll kind of mesh the two so that they're pretty seamless after that. That's the goal anyway.
Karen, the reason I ask is the flack that some of us have been taking about the Main Street property that Mr. Wingert's putting up between a brownstone and a Victorian, and it totally blocks out. And the developer didn't do anything wrong. It's just that he was abiding by a form-based code. And so I wonder if some of that corrections can be made somewhere. I don't know if that comes into this or not, if it's a form-based zoning type project.
So I don't know if that has anything to do with whether it's form-based code or another type of code, but I think the issue potentially there is looking at making sure that you have the character right? So I think we're being pretty careful about that front setback, the building types. Codometrics does building types as well as some of these others, and the zoning is then on the property itself. So there's some little differences that we're trying to make improvements to make sure that we don't have things that are kind of out of whack with the existing character of the neighborhood. So yes, we always try to do better. Right.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other thoughts, discussion? Otherwise, seeing none, I will say thank you, Karen. And we will then adjourn our Committee of the Whole meeting, and we will be back here at 7 p.m. We don't have any motion, so we don't have any public discussion on so we'll adjourn, and we'll be back at 7 o'clock for the regular scheduled City Council meeting. So thank you, everyone.